All right, this time call the May 17th, 2017 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Chester, Mr. Cho, Ms. McLaughlin,
Here.
Ms. Utman, Mr. Warmbrun,
Here.
Mr. Weisskopf, and Mr. Welch.
Here, and we do have a quorum. Are there any changes to the agenda? All right, at this time I would ask for approval of the minutes. Anyone?
I move that we approve the minutes of March 15, 2017.
It's been moved. Do we have a second? It's now been moved and seconded. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are now approved. Are there any written communications? Okay. No continued public hearings? All right. At this time, I would ask anyone that intends to testify before us to please stand. Do you swear that any testimony you give tonight will be true and accurate to the best of your belief? Yes. Thank you. At this time, then, we call for meeting ZBA, or hearing ZBA 2017 Major-03, a request by Cliff Singer and Bridget Pickey for a major variance to construct an addition which would encroach 4 feet into the required 5-foot wide setback at 613 West Washington in the R2 Single Family Residential District. And we have a staff report, please.
Yes. Good evening. Thank you for hearing the case. The applicants request permission to construct an addition aligned with an existing legally non-conforming single-family house. The addition would have the same west wall line and roof eave line as the existing house, which is located on the south side of Washington Street between Busey Avenue and Orchard Street, as shown on your screen. Here in the middle. The underlying Knuckles subdivision was platted in 1927 into originally 6 equally sized lots, and then subsequently land transfers created new property boundaries approximately 4 feet east of those original lot boundaries for the upper 3 parcels. Then the house was then built in 1953 approximately 1 foot east of the west property line, more in keeping with what the original lot lines were than in what the subsequent land transfers created. This then created an encroachment of approximately 4 feet into the required west yard setback. There is no evidence that a side yard setback variance was issued prior to the house construction. So this encroachment has been in place since the original construction in 1953. Section 6.5 of the zoning ordinance requires side yard setbacks of 5 feet for structures in the R2 zoning district. The scope of the requested encroachment now requires a major variance, and the Zoning Board of Appeals must recommend approval of a major variance by a 2/3 majority to forward the case to City Council for final review and approval. The request may be amended to require, or the Zoning Board of Appeals may decide to consider a lesser variance, resulting in the variance being classified as a minor variance. In that instance, the board may grant a minor variance with a simple majority vote. The subject property is located in the R2 Single Family District, as shown on your screen, and is surrounded on all sides by that R2 district. Adjacent properties are used for single and 2-family dwellings and a fraternity sorority group home, while nearby properties also include an apartment building. The Urbana Comprehensive Plan's future land use designation for the subject property and surrounding area is shown as residential urban pattern. The 180 square foot addition would contain a full bathroom with a walk-in shower designed for residents who are modifying the house for aging in place, as well as a small closet that would also house the bathroom's plumbing. And this is shown in this portion of the application. Located in green is the addition with the larger bathroom and the smaller closet. This proposed addition, as shown on the floor plan, would have the same west wall and roof eave lines as the existing house, extending it approximately 11 feet south towards the rear of the property and be approximately 17 feet wide. The siding materials would be selected to match the existing construction, and attached site plans and elevations as shown here show the proposed changes to the floor plan and also the roof lines and elevations. So this is a little complex, but this is looking at the east side of the home. The dotted line is the new roof line and the new rear south line of the addition. And there would be no change to the other portion of the roof or the existing roof to the east of the house. And this is a view of the elevation. We'll just skip down to this lower piece here. This is an elevation view of the house with the addition. Here is the existing sliding glass door, and this is the roof that would be adjusted. An existing landscape buffer with trees and large shrubs extends along the front of the house and along the west property line. As shown in the site photos, this is looking at the house south from West Washington Street. This landscape shrubbery extends along the front and then comes along the west side of the property here, and on the other side of the shrubbery is where the addition would be located. This is a view of the existing deck and the approximate size of the proposed addition. It would include the area where this sliding glass door is currently located. This is an existing air conditioning condenser that is located in the side yard setback. It's currently encroaching, and the construction would involve removing that and replacing it with smaller units that are located elsewhere around the house. And this is simply showing that the house is approximately 50 inches from the fence, which runs down the west side of the property, and so that fence is probably along the property line, or it might be a little on the other side. There is some sharing of the fence line, but the proposed addition would share this same west wall line and not extend further out. And then this photograph here shows the neighboring property and the subject property, and showing that the addition would be located at approximately the head of the arrow and would not be seen much from the existing road right-of-way. Let's see. Public Works staff recently brought to our attention that there is a 30-inch storm sewer line that runs roughly north-south near the west property line, which may or may not impact construction of the addition. That location is shown here on this GIS map. This blue line running approximately north-south through the property. Public Works staff will be going out there and ground truthing and locating the pipe to determine the parameters of what construction can be done. And then what is allowed to be done on the site, whether the addition can be built as desired, sharing the same west property line, or if it might need to be moved further into the east. Staff did review the requested variance against the criteria listed in the zoning ordinance. The parcel does present special circumstances in carrying out strict application of the ordinance. According to the applicant, shifting the proposed addition to the east to conform with the current yard setbacks would be more expensive, potentially create water infiltration issues due to the additional joints in the construction, and block the view of the backyard from the house. Staff did observe that relocation of the proposed addition further to the east would create an inefficient use of space without providing any additional benefit as a buffer to the westerly adjacent property, since there's already a fence there and a landscaping buffer. The proposed variance would not serve as a special privilege because the variance requested is necessary due to special circumstances not generally applicable to other structures in the same district. Most homes in the district appear to have been built without encroaching into their side yard setbacks, so that putting an addition or an extension on their home would not necessitate a variance. Third, the encroachment was created by a combination of the shifting of property lines 4 feet to the east sometime after the original platting in 1927, but before the subsequent construction of the house in 1953. This encroachment was not created by the applicants, and granting the variance would not be an instance of resolving a self-created hardship. Fourth, the proposed addition will be located at the rear of the existing residence and would be mostly screened from the street right-of-way by landscaping and a fence. The roof edge line and wall line will not be shifted further into the side yard, and the exterior siding materials would be selected to blend with the existing materials. As a result, the character of the neighborhood will not be significantly impacted, and granting the variance would therefore not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. Fifth, the proposed addition would be largely outside of the adjacent residence's line of sight due to either landscape and fence buffers or site geometry. Additionally, the applicants have contacted their neighbors, informed them of their construction plans, and obtained several signatures of adjacent neighbors indicating their approval of the proposed construction. These signatures were included with the application and the distribution. This combination of existing buffers and neighbor approval indicate the proposed location should not create any nuisance to the neighborhood. Finally, the requested variance, allowing for the walls and eaves of the proposed addition to be aligned with the existing house, is the minimum deviation possible for the applicants to construct the proposed addition without the unnecessary expense of additional construction. These findings are summarized in the staff memo, including the grounds for the variance request, the background on the property, and how the request addresses the variance criteria posed in the zoning ordinance. The options to the zoning board, because a major variance requires a 2/3 vote by the board to forward a recommendation for approval to the City Council, include that the board may forward the case to City Council with a recommendation to approve the variance based on the findings, or the board may forward the case to City Council with a recommendation to approve the variance along with certain terms and conditions. If the board elects to recommend conditions or approval of the variance on findings other than those articulated here, they should articulate those findings accordingly. Or C, the board may approve a lesser minor variance with a simple majority vote. Or finally, the board may deny the variance requested. If the board elects to do so, it should articulate findings supporting its denial. Planning staff recommend that the Zoning Board of Appeals forward ZBA case number 2017 MAJ03 to the City Council with a recommendation to approve the variance with the following condition. 1, that the site is developed in general compliance with the attached site plan and elevations, and this is an addition now to what's in the memo in light of the sewer pipe, or in general compliance with a revised site plan and elevations supporting a smaller variance which would accommodate a partially offset construction. So in the case that Public Works says that we need at least a 1 foot movement shifting of the addition to the east, then the applicant could submit a revised site plan accommodating that offset without having to come back to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a change in ordinance, in variance. And that is the end of the staff report.
Thank you, Marcus. Are there any questions for staff?
Could you please read the second condition again?
Yes,
The new one?
yes. So it's
And would that be a second condition or a replacement condition?
a replacement condition.
So
The
so
site
you're
is-
just adding language to number one? And-
Correct.
Okay.
And that language is, comma, or in general compliance with a revised site plan and elevations supporting a smaller variance, which would accommodate a partially offset construction.
I don't know if we'll get it right, but we'll try.
Is that all? Any other questions? All right, thank you. Would the petitioner like to be heard?
I can answer questions for you, but the staff has done a fantastic job.
Okay. You know, you have to sign in, yeah.
I used to be on the other side of this, you'd think I would remember. I'm Clifford Singer, I live at 412 West Iowa in Urbana. So as I said, the staff has done a fantastic job of reviewing this very carefully and been extremely helpful in telling us what we will have to do to go forward. You'll appreciate, of course, that there are variance issues and then there are building permit issues, and this is a necessary condition. We will continue on, assuming that if you do approve it, of course, getting building permitting in accommodation of all the existing regulations, as we would have to.
Are there any questions for the petitioner? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I noticed when I asked, no, you're just here observing? Oh, all right, you're his wife. So there is then no one in further support of the petitioner, or are there any people here opposed? So I believe we're ready to call the question.
I move that we approve ZBA case number 2017-Major-03 and forward it to the City Council with a recommendation of approval with the following condition, that the site is developed in general compliance with the attached site plan and elevations and in general conformance with the revised site plan and elevation, partially offsetting and accommodating a new site plan. And Marcus's language is better than mine there, so.
Or if we clean it up a little bit more and keep the intent, is that satisfactory?
That'd be wonderful, yes, thank you.
Yes, that would be fine. I think we have the general tenor here. It's been moved. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Then I believe we're ready for a vote.
Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Ms. McLaughlin?
Yes?
Mr. Warmbrun?
Yes.
And Mr. Welch?
Yes. The motion carries with the necessary votes for recommendation to send it to the city council at which meeting?
June 5th.
At their June 5th, 2017 meeting. That concludes that case. Is there any old business? Any new business? The audience has already participated, so we don't have any audience participation. Is there a further staff report on any issues? Anything to study? And I believe we've concluded our business, and this meeting is adjourned.